Chloe Mitchell stood in the nurse's locker room, staring at the embossed invitation in her hand. Annual charity gala. Formal attire required. She opened her wallet. $32. Rent was due next week. The door swung open. Caleb Brooks stepped inside, navy suit wrinkled from another sleepless night at his daughter's bedside, holding a white box. "You're not going, are you?" he asked. Chloe tucked the invitation behind her back. "I have another shift." He set the box on the counter and lifted the lid. Inside lay a cream silk dress, boat neckline, delicate lace sleeves. His hands trembled as he touched the fabric. "This was my wife's," he said, voice cracking. "I want you to have it." Chloe stepped back. "Mr. Brooks, I can't—" He looked straight into her eyes, and for the first time in 2 years, something other than grief flickered across his face. "Will you be my first date?" The fluorescent lights hummed. Chloe couldn't breathe. What did this man, this widowed CEO who barely spoke to anyone, really want from her? 3 months earlier, Chloe had been a ghost in the hospital corridors. She worked the morning shift in the pediatric ward, sold flowers at the farmer's market in the afternoon, and attended night classes for advanced care certification. Her basement apartment smelled like mildew and cheap coffee. She owned 2 pairs of scrubs and 1 white blouse she washed every other night in the sink. No one at the hospital knew her story. No one asked. When the head nurse, Margaret, called her into the office that morning, Chloe expected another double shift assignment. Instead, Margaret handed her a file folder. Harper Brooks, 8 years old. Seizure disorder, cause unknown. Father is Caleb Brooks, CEO of Brooks Capital. He's requested a private night nurse. Are you interested? Chloe's fingers tightened on the clipboard. The name Harper made her chest constrict in a way she couldn't explain. She nodded without speaking. Margaret's eyebrows lifted slightly, but she didn't press. Start tonight. Room 412. Caleb Brooks sat by the window when Chloe entered the hospital room for the first time. He wore a navy suit with the tie loosened, holding a thick medical file he wasn't reading. His daughter Harper lay motionless in the bed, blonde hair spread across the pillow, face pale as the sheets. He didn't look up when Chloe set her bag down. "I'll stay until she falls asleep," he said, voice flat and mechanical. Chloe checked the monitors, heart rate steady, blood pressure normal. But Harper's eyes were open, staring at the ceiling, lips tinged purple. Chloe pulled a chair close to the bed. "Harper, do you like stories?" No response. The child's chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. Chloe didn't push. Instead, she began to hum. A melody without words, soft and unhurried, like lulling a baby to sleep from a long-ago memory. Harper's eyelids fluttered. Her breathing deepened. Within minutes, she was asleep. Caleb turned in his chair. For the first time, he looked directly at Chloe. "What was that song?" His voice had lost its mechanical edge. "Just something my mother used to sing," Chloe said quietly. "Your mother?" She turned away. "She's gone." The room fell silent, except for the beep of the heart monitor. Over the following nights, a routine formed. Caleb arrived at the hospital before Chloe's shift started and rarely left. He worked on his laptop in the corner, but his eyes constantly drifted to Harper, then to Chloe. One night, Harper woke crying. "I want Mommy." Caleb's hands gripped his knees, his shoulders locked. Chloe moved to the bed and gathered Harper into her arms. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here." Harper buried her face against Chloe's shoulder. "You smell like flowers," she whispered. Chloe smiled. "I work at a flower shop." "What's your favorite flower?" "White roses," Mummy loved them. Caleb stood abruptly and walked into the hallway. Through the glass, Chloe saw him lean against the wall, head tilted back, chest heaving with silent breaths. The 5th night brought the first seizure on Chloe's watch. The alarm shrieked. Harper's body convulsed, eyes rolling back, limbs jerking against the bed rails. Caleb stood frozen, hands white-knuckled on the bed rail. "Do something." His voice cracked. Chloe dropped to her knees beside the bed. She turned Harper onto her side, supporting her head, fingers checking the airway. She glanced at her watch and began counting seconds. 1 minute, 2 minutes. The convulsions slowed, then stopped. Harper's breathing evened out. Chloe kept her hand on the child's forehead, humming the same melody from before. Caleb collapsed into the chair. He buried his face in his hands. The sound of his ragged breathing filled the room like something breaking apart from the inside. The next morning, as Chloe prepared to leave, Caleb blocked her path to the door. "Thank you. For last night." She nodded, gathering her things. "Most nurses panic." He continued, voice softer now. "But you didn't. Harper needs someone calm," Chloe said simply. He studied her face for a long moment. "You have another job, don't you? I saw the dirt under your nails." Chloe's hands curled into fists. She tucked them behind her back. "Flowers. I sell them after my shift." "Why?" "Because I need the money." "For what?" "Tuition. Advanced care program." Caleb was quiet. Then he nodded slowly. "You're different from the others." Chloe felt his gaze follow her down the hallway, but she didn't turn around. 2 weeks later, Harper was awake more often. She drew pictures with crayons on the hospital tray table. White flowers, and a woman in a white shirt. "That's you, Chloe," Harper said, holding up the drawing. Caleb stood behind his daughter's bed, staring at the picture. His lips moved, but no sound came out. That evening, Harper asked, "Chloe, you'll stay with me forever, right?" Chloe glanced at Caleb. He turned toward the window. "I'll stay as long as you need me," Chloe said gently. But the words felt hollow. She knew nothing lasted forever, not in her life. The trouble started 3 weeks into Chloe's assignment. It was a busy morning in the pediatric ward. Chloe was preparing Harper's medication when Margaret appeared in the doorway. "Mitchell, Dr. Hayes wants to see you. Now." Chloe set down the medication tray. "Is something wrong?" Margaret's face was unreadable. "Just go." The fluorescent lights in Dr. Hayes's office buzzed overhead. Caleb stood by the window, hands in his pockets. Dr. Hayes, a silver-haired man with gold-rimmed glasses, sat behind his desk with a thick file open in front of him. "Miss Mitchell, there's been an incident. Last night, Harper received the wrong dosage, twice the prescribed amount." Chloe's heart hammered. "That's impossible." "I checked 3 times. Dr. Hayes turned the chart toward her. Your signature is here." She stared at the page. It was her signature, but the dosage written next to it wasn't what she'd prepared. "I didn't write that," she said, voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Then who did?" Dr. Hayes asked. The room went silent. Caleb turned from the window, his eyes locked on hers. "Did you make a mistake?" The question landed like a punch. "No, I swear." Dr. Hayes pushed a pharmacy log across the desk. "This shows you picked up the medication at 9:47 p.m. alone." Chloe looked at the log. Her name, her signature. But she remembered checking the dosage carefully. Someone had changed it after she left. Someone tampered with it, she said quietly. Dr. Hayes sighed. "Miss Mitchell, I understand you're under pressure. 3 jobs, night school. Perhaps you were tired." I wasn't tired. I never make mistakes with Harper. Caleb said nothing, but his gaze had changed. The warmth was gone. In the hallway, Margaret stood with her arms crossed. I told Dr. Hayes you're not qualified for this, she said as Chloe passed. Chloe stopped. What? You're just a part-time nurse. Too many jobs. Too distracted. I didn't do anything wrong. Margaret's smile was cold and calculated. We'll see. 2 days later, Dr. Hayes called a disciplinary hearing. Chloe sat alone in the conference room, while Margaret, 2 other nurses, and Dr. Hayes took seats across from her. Miss Mitchell, without concrete evidence, we have no choice but to suspend you pending investigation. The door opened. Caleb walked in carrying his laptop. Before you do that, you need to see this. He opened the laptop and turned the screen toward Dr. Hayes. Surveillance footage. Pharmacy. 10:15 p.m. On the screen, a male nurse in green scrubs approached the medication tray Chloe had prepared. He opened the vial, added more medication, then placed it back on the shelf. The timestamp was clear, 15 minutes after Chloe had left. The room went silent. Dr. Hayes looked at Margaret. Did you know about this? Margaret's face went pale. I had no idea. Caleb turned to Chloe. I checked the footage myself after Harper's vitals spiked. I knew you wouldn't make that mistake. Chloe stood, hands shaking. Why did you defend me? Caleb met her eyes. Because I believe you. The words settled over her like a weight. After the meeting, Chloe stood in the hallway, arms wrapped around herself. Caleb stepped out of the conference room. Thank you, she said, voice hoarse. You didn't have to. Yes, I did, he interrupted. Harper needs you, and so do I. She looked up. What? He hesitated. I mean, we need someone we can trust. Someone who cares. Chloe nodded, but inside a dull ache spread through her chest. He only needs me because of Harper. Nothing more. 1 week later, the hospital announced its annual charity gala. Caleb was invited as a major donor. Harper was invited as a special patient who had recovered remarkably well. Chloe received an email invitation. She stared at it on her phone screen during her break. Formal attire required. She opened her banking app. Her balance showed $218. Rent was $300. The cheapest gala dress she'd found online was $195. She closed the app and deleted the email. 2 days before the gala, Harper asked, Chloe, are you coming to the party? I want you there. Chloe forced a smile. I'm not sure, sweetheart. I might have another shift that night. Why? Just work stuff. Caleb stood in the doorway, listening. His eyes found Chloe's across the room. He understood. That afternoon, Chloe stood in the nurse's locker room, holding the crumpled invitation she'd printed out. She opened her wallet one more time. $32. The door swung open. Caleb Brooks stepped inside, navy suit wrinkled from another sleepless night at his daughter's bedside, holding a white box. You're not going, are you? He asked. Chloe tucked the invitation behind her back. I have another shift. He set the box on the counter and lifted the lid. Inside lay a cream silk dress, boat neckline, delicate lace sleeves. His hands trembled as he touched the fabric. This was my wife's, he said, voice cracking. I want you to have it. Chloe stepped back, heart pounding. Mr. Brooks, I can't accept this. He looked straight into her eyes. Will you be my first date? Chloe couldn't speak. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Her throat tightened. I don't understand, she finally managed. Caleb's jaw worked. Since Rachel died, I haven't been to any events. Not really. I show up. Sign checks. Leave. He looked down at the dress. But this time I want to go. With you. And Harper. Chloe shook her head. People will talk. They'll think. I don't care what they think, he said firmly. Do you? She looked at the dress, then at him. What if I'm not good enough? His voice softened. You are. You're more than enough. Her hands trembled as she reached for the box. Okay, she whispered. Okay. The night of the gala arrived with unseasonable warmth. The hospital's grand ballroom glittered with chandeliers and string lights. A live orchestra played soft jazz. Men in tuxedos and women in evening gowns laughed and clinked champagne glasses. Chloe stood outside the entrance in the cream silk dress. She'd pulled her hair into a simple updo. No jewelry, no makeup beyond a touch of lipstick she'd borrowed from another nurse. But the dress fit perfectly, skimming her figure like it had been made for her. She took a breath and walked inside. Caleb stood near the donor recognition wall with Harper beside him. He wore a black tuxedo, crisp and perfectly tailored. When he saw Chloe, he went still. His eyes widened. Harper spotted her and ran over. Chloe! You look like a princess! Chloe knelt and hugged the little girl. Thank you, sweetheart. Caleb approached slowly. You came. You asked me to. He extended his hand. May I? She placed her hand in his. His palm was warm, steady. He led her into the ballroom, but the whispers started immediately. That's the nurse, isn't it? A woman in a red dress murmured to her companion. The one who almost killed his daughter? No, that was a mistake. But look at her, wearing his wife's dress. How desperate. Poor thing. She probably thinks he loves her. A middle-aged woman in crimson approached Chloe with a practiced smile. That's a beautiful dress. Where did you get it? Chloe's chest tightened. It was a gift. From Mr. Brooks? The woman glanced at Caleb, then back at Chloe. How sweet. Rachel used to wear that dress every year to this gala. The air felt too thick to breathe. She was so elegant. The woman continued, smile sharpening. So graceful. Hard to fill those shoes, isn't it? Chloe released Caleb's hand. Excuse me, I need some air. Chloe, wait. She didn't stop. She walked quickly through the crowd, past the string quartet, past the ice sculpture centerpiece, into the empty hallway. She leaned against the wall, gasping. Tears burned her eyes. She slipped off her heels and carried them, walking barefoot on the cold tile floor. Why did I think I belonged here? Why did I think he saw me? This dress will never be mine. I'm just a replacement, a shadow of someone he lost. The alarm shrieked through the hallway. Room 412. Chloe ran. Her bare feet slapped against the floor. The silk dress billowed behind her. She burst into Harper's room. The little girl convulsed violently on the bed. Eyes rolled back, foam at the corners of her mouth. The on-duty nurse stood frozen, phone in hand. I called for the doctor, but he's not here yet. Chloe dropped to her knees beside the bed. She turned Harper onto her side, supporting her head, checking her airway. Her watch showed the seconds ticking past. Breathe, Harper. Breathe with me. 1 minute, 2 minutes. The seizure continued. Harper's limbs jerked. Her lips turned blue. Chloe looked at the nurse. Diazepam. Now. I can't. I need a doctor's orders. She'll die if you wait. I can't just... Give it to me! The nurse's hands shook as she handed over the syringe. Chloe administered the injection, precise and measured. She placed her hand on Harper's forehead and began to hum the lullaby. Seconds stretched into eternity. Then Harper's breathing steadied. The convulsions stopped. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused and confused. Chloe, she whispered. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm here. Footsteps pounded in the hallway. Caleb burst through the door. He dropped to the floor beside the bed and pulled Harper into his arms. His hands shook. His eyes were red. What happened? Chloe stood stepping back. Seizure. Severe. But she's stable now. Caleb looked up at her. The cream silk dress was stained with blood from the injection site. Her hair had come loose. Her face was streaked with tears, but her eyes were clear and steady. You saved her. Again. She didn't answer. She turned toward the door. Don't. His voice cracked. Don't leave. She stopped. Every time something happens, you're the one who's here, he said, voice breaking. Not the doctors. Not anyone else. You. Chloe turned back, tears streaming down her face. Because I have to be. Because she needs me. And I need you too. The words hung in the air between them. Dr. Hayes rushed in with 2 residents. What happened here? Who authorized the medication? Chloe straightened. I did. You're not a doctor. You could lose your license. Then let me lose it. She's alive. That's all that matters. Dr. Hayes turned to Caleb. Mr. Brooks, I need you to confirm. Caleb stood, still holding Harper. His voice was ice. She saved my daughter's life. If you punish her for that, I'll pull every cent of funding from this hospital, and I'll make sure the board knows exactly why. Silence filled the room. Dr. Hayes stepped back. We'll review the situation. After everyone left, only Caleb, Chloe, and sleeping Harper remained. Caleb approached Chloe slowly. He touched her shoulder. Why did you run away? At the gala. She looked at the floor. Because I heard what they said. About the dress. About me being a replacement. What did they say? That I'm trying to fill Rachel's shoes. That I'm desperate. That I don't belong. Caleb was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, voice raw. You're right. You don't belong in Rachel's shoes. Chloe's head dropped. Tears fell faster. Because you're not her. Caleb continued. He stepped closer. And I don't want you to be... She looked up, confused. That dress doesn't belong to Rachel anymore. It belongs to the woman who stays up all night with my daughter, who sings to her when she's scared, who risks everything to save her. Chloe shook her head. But everyone sees her when they look at me. They see the dress. They see you. And they think, I don't care what they think. He cupped her face gently, wiping away tears with his thumb. I see you, Chloe. Only you. Harper stirred in the bed. Chloe. Chloe knelt beside her. I'm here, sweetheart. The little girl's eyes were unfocused, but aware. I had a dream. About Mommy. Caleb sat on the edge of the bed. What did you dream about? Harper's voice was dreamy, distant. Mommy was singing. The same song Chloe sings. Chloe froze. Every muscle in her body locked. What did you say? Harper sat up slightly, supported by pillows. The song. The one you always sing to me. Mommy used to sing it too, before she died. Caleb turned to Chloe. His eyes searched her face. What song is she talking about? Chloe stood, backing away. It's just a lullaby. Lots of people know it. No. Harper insisted, shaking her head. It's special. Mummy only sang it to people she loved. Caleb stood. How do you know that song, Chloe? Her hands trembled. She couldn't form words. Chloe, answer me. Harper reached for Chloe's hand. Are you my sister? The silence was suffocating. Heavy. Inescapable. Chloe knelt in front of Harper. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, sweetheart, I am. Caleb staggered backward. His face went pale. That's impossible. Rachel never told me she had a daughter. Because I asked her not to. Why? Chloe's voice shook. Because I didn't want to be a burden. She was happy with you. She had Harper, a new family. I didn't fit into that picture. Caleb shook his head. You're lying. I'm not. Chloe opened a small purse and pulled out an old photograph. A brown-haired girl stood beside a woman in a white sundress. The woman had her arm around the girl's shoulders. Both were smiling. Caleb took the photo. His hands shook. The woman was Rachel. Younger, but unmistakable. She sent me to boarding school when I was 12, Chloe said, voice breaking. After that, we barely saw each other. Just letters, phone calls on birthdays. Caleb sank into the chair. Why didn't she tell me? Because I didn't want her to. I wanted her to be happy, without the complication of me. Harper looked between them. So Chloe is really my sister? Chloe nodded. Yes, sweetheart. Harper threw her arms around Chloe. I always wanted a sister. Chloe held her, sobbing. Caleb stood and walked out of the room without a word. The door closed behind him with a soft click. That night, Chloe sat alone on a bench in the hospital hallway. The cream silk dress felt heavy now. A burden. Caleb stood at the far end of the corridor, leaning against the wall. He held the photograph Chloe had given him, staring at it for a long time. Finally, he walked toward her. Tell me everything, he said quietly. Chloe looked up. What do you want to know? Why didn't you come to the funeral? Her voice was barely a whisper. I did. I stood in the back. I watched you hold Harper. I watched you cry. And I knew I couldn't intrude on that grief. Caleb sat beside her. So you came here. To the hospital where she died. And you became a nurse. I wanted to be close to her somehow. Chloe wrapped her arms around herself. When I saw Harper's name on the patient list, I knew I had to stay. I had to take care of her. Caleb stared at the floor. You've been taking care of your half-sister this whole time, and you never told me. If you knew, you'd think I had an agenda, that I wanted something from you. Do you? She met his eyes. I want Harper to be okay. That's all I've ever wanted. Caleb pulled out his phone. He scrolled through old emails and handed it to Chloe. Read this. The email was from Rachel, sent to Caleb 3 months before her death. Caleb, there's something I need to tell you. About Chloe. My daughter. I know I should have told you sooner, but I was afraid. Afraid you'd think I was hiding her. Afraid you'd judge me for being a bad mother. But the truth is, I miss her. Every day. And I want her to meet Harper. I want them to be sisters. Real sisters. When Harper's better, I'll bring Chloe home, I promise. Rachel Chloe read the words through blurring tears. Her hands shook. The phone screen grew wet. She wanted you, Caleb said softly. She was waiting for the right time. But she never got it. Chloe covered her face with her hands and wept. Caleb put his arm around her shoulders. Gentle. Steady. You don't have to be alone anymore. The next morning, Harper woke with a smile. Chloe sat beside the bed. You stayed, Harper said. I did. The little girl looked serious. Are you really my sister? Yes, sweetheart, I really am. Harper sat up and hugged Chloe tightly. I'm so happy. Chloe held her voice thick with emotion. Me too. Later that day, Caleb met with Dr. Hayes. He requested that Chloe be transferred to a full-time private nursing position for Harper outside the hospital. She's family, Caleb said. Harper needs her. Dr. Hayes nodded slowly. I understand. But what about you, Mr. Brooks? What do you need? Caleb was silent. Then he said, I need to learn how to trust again. 1 week later, Chloe was invited to Caleb's home for the first time. The house was large, modern architecture with warm wood accents and floor-to-ceiling windows. Harper took Chloe's hand and led her through the rooms. "This is my room. This is Daddy's office. And this is Mummy's garden." They stepped into the backyard. White roses bloomed everywhere, filling the air with sweet fragrance, exactly like the flowers Rachel had loved. Caleb stood beside Chloe. "I keep it alive." For her, Chloe's eyes filled with tears. "It's beautiful. She would have wanted you here," he said quietly, "in this garden. With Harper. With us." Chloe looked down. "I don't know if I belong here." His voice was certain. "You do. You always did." That evening, Chloe and Caleb sat on the porch while Harper played in the garden. "I'm sorry," Chloe said, "for not telling you sooner." Caleb shook his head. "I understand why you didn't. But now I want you to stay, not as a nurse hiding in the shadows, but as family." Chloe met his eyes. "What about the dress?" "What people said at the gala. The dress is just fabric." Caleb said, "What matters is the person wearing it. And you're not a replacement. You're a gift, from Rachel, to us." Chloe smiled through tears. "Thank you." Harper ran over, holding a white rose. "Chloe." "Daddy, look what I found." Chloe took the flower gently. "It's beautiful, sweetheart." Harper hugged them both. "I love you both." Caleb looked at Chloe. For the first time in 2 years, he smiled. A real smile, not shadowed by grief. 6 months passed. Spring arrived with warm sunshine and blooming flowers. Chloe no longer worked 3 jobs. She worked part-time at the hospital and spent most of her time at home with Harper. In the mornings, she woke early to make pancakes. Caleb came downstairs in his dress shirt, coffee in hand. "Pancakes again?" "Harper loves them." "You're spoiling her." Chloe grinned. "That's what sisters do." Harper rushed downstairs and hugged Chloe. "Can we go to the park today?" "After your checkup." "Okay." That afternoon, they sat on a park bench watching Harper play with other children. Caleb watched his daughter laugh and run. "She's doing better," he said. "She is. Because of you." Chloe turned to him. "Because of us." He looked at her. His eyes were softer now, warmer. "Chloe, do you remember the gala, when I asked you to be my first date?" "I remember. I meant it, not as a favor, not just because of Harper, but because I wanted to see you, really see you." Chloe looked down. "And what did you see?" "Someone who gives everything and asks for nothing." She smiled. "I asked for one thing, to be close to my mother. And I got it. Through Harper. Through you." Caleb reached over and took her hand. "Stay. Not as a nurse, not just as a sister, but as part of this family." Chloe looked at their joined hands. Then at Harper, laughing in the sunshine. "I'm already here." That evening, they returned to the rose garden. Chloe and Harper watered the flowers together. Caleb stood on the porch, watching them. Harper asked, "Chloe, do you think Mommy's happy that we're together?" Chloe knelt down and looked into Harper's eyes. "I think she's smiling. Somewhere, watching us. I miss her. Me too." Harper hugged her. "But I'm glad you're here." Chloe held her close. "I'm glad too." Later that night, Chloe opened the closet in the guest room. The cream silk dress hung there, cleaned and pressed. Caleb appeared in the doorway. "You kept it." "I couldn't throw it away." "Why not?" Chloe touched the soft fabric. "Because it's not just her dress anymore. It's the night I stopped running, the night I found my way home." Caleb stepped closer. "Will you wear it again?" She turned to him, smiling. "Only if you ask me for a second date." He smiled back, genuine and warm. Consider yourself asked. 1 year later, on the night of the annual charity gala, Chloe walked into the hospital ballroom wearing the cream silk dress. This time, she wasn't alone. Caleb stood beside her, hand in hers. Harper walked behind them in a white dress, hair in an elegant updo. People watched, but this time there were no whispers, only smiles and respectful nods. The woman in red from the previous year approached. Her hair was grayer now. Miss Mitchell, you look lovely. Thank you. And congratulations on becoming Harper's legal guardian. Chloe smiled. Thank you. The woman glanced at Caleb, then back at Chloe. Rachel would be proud. The words settled warmly around them. Later that evening, Caleb led Chloe onto the balcony. Moonlight spilled over the gardens below. The orchestra played softly inside. Thank you, he said, for saying yes that day. Thank you for asking. Caleb turned to face her fully. He knelt down on one knee. From his pocket he pulled out a small ring. Simple, elegant, a single diamond on platinum. I have another question. Chloe's breath caught. What is it? Will you be my last date? She stood frozen. Tears streamed down her face. Her hands shook. Caleb. I know it's been fast. I know we're still figuring things out, but I also know I don't want to do any of this without you. Chloe knelt down and took his hands. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Inside, Harper watched through the glass doors. She smiled and whispered to herself, Thank you, Mummy, for bringing her home. In the rose garden at home, a new white rose bloomed. Its petals were soft, fragrant, perfect. Chloe picked it gently and placed it in a vase on the dining table. Caleb wrapped his arms around her from behind. What are you thinking? She leaned into him. I'm thinking I'm finally home. Harper ran in and threw her arms around both of them. Family hug! The three of them held each other. No words needed, just presence, just love. The cream silk dress hung in the closet, no longer a ghost of the past. It had become a bridge between loss and finding, between yesterday and tomorrow, between a mother who was gone and the 2 daughters she left behind. And in the garden, the white roses continued to bloom, season after season, tended by hands that had finally found their purpose.